You know how a typical Friday afternoon in Delhi feels, that sort of buzz weekend just around the corner? Well, April 11th, 2025, it started just like that for so many people. And then it felt like just moments later, everything flipped. The sky got this weird, almost yellowish color, and the wind, wow, it just kicked off.
It really is striking how fast that happened.
Mm.
Calm 1 minute,
Yeah.
total chaos the next. 1 second you're thinking about Friday evening, the next you're in this huge dust storm, winds just blasting out of nowhere.
Exactly. And this wasn't just like a bit of dust blowing around. This was serious. Tragically, someone actually died in Chander Vihar.
Oh, that's awful.
Yeah, a 67-year-old man, Chander Powell. He was near a building site, an under construction building, and a wall just gave way in the wind, collapsed right on him.
Oh my goodness, that's devastating. Just the suddenness of it.
It really is.
That
And believe it or not, that wasn't the only time people got hurt.
Right. In that same Chander Vihar incident, um, there was a nursing officer, Rajbir Mirna, and a young guy, only 17, Ashu Malik. They were injured too by the debris.
Mm.
And then completely separately, over in Karol Bagh, a newly built balcony apparently collapsed just as a 13-year-old kid was walking underneath.
No way. Was he okay?
He survived, thankfully, but yeah, he was injured. It really shows you the immediate danger, doesn't it? How quickly things become unsafe in a storm like that.
It paints such a stark picture. And it wasn't just people. I mean, the whole city infrastructure felt it. Travel, for instance.
Oh, yeah?
15 flights. 15 headed for Indira Gandhi International Airport. They all had to be diverted somewhere else.
Wow, 15. Can you imagine being on one of those planes? You think you're about to land in Delhi, and nope, off you go to Jaipur or somewhere.
Exactly.
And that causes such a headache, not just for the passengers, though obviously that's bad enough,
Hmm.
but think about the airlines. Schedules thrown off, crews out of place, planes not where they should be. That's a massive operational tangle. Costs a fortune too, I bet.
Yeah, I hadn't even thought about the airline side so much, but you're right. And then even if you were on the ground, getting around was tricky. We heard about trees just being ripped up all over the city. Connaught Place, Jor Bagh, Patel Marg, Lodi Garden. Big mature trees just toppled over.
Mm-hmm. It really gives you a sense of the force involved, and it makes you wonder, you know, about the trees themselves. How healthy are their roots? What about the soil? Things you don't normally think about until they fail, I suppose.
That's a good point. It raises questions about, well, how we manage the green spaces in the city, maybe.
And just infrastructure resilience in general.
Absolutely. And the authorities, they definitely took it seriously. The IMD, the India Meteorological Department, they put out a red alert.
A red alert. Okay, that's top level, isn't it?
Yeah, highest warning. Basically telling everyone's, stay inside, this is dangerous. It was in effect until about 9 p.m. that evening.
So that confirms it wasn't just your average gusty day. This was officially recognized as a pretty major event with potential for real harm.
Totally. So, okay, we've got this picture. Incredibly fast, powerful dust storm hits Delhi. We know tragically someone died, others were injured, flights diverted, trees down everywhere, chaos. Now, to really understand this, we need to think about where we're getting this info. We're relying on the IMD, obviously, for the weather science bit, DIAL, the airport authority, for the flight stuff, and then the power companies like Tata Power, BSCS, they were dealing with outages.
Right, and don't forget the city bodies on the ground.
Mm.
NDMC, MCD, the PWD, they were the ones clearing the trees, dealing with the immediate damage. Plus, the police and forensic teams, of course, looking into those awful incidents in Chander Vihar and Karol Bagh.
Good point. So yeah, lots of different pieces coming together. So for this deep dive, we're not just going to list what happened. We want to get under the skin of it, right? Understand the why, the human stories, maybe some surprising effects too. Just try and paint a really clear picture.
Sounds good. And I suppose the why starts with the weather system itself.
Exactly. What caused this thing?
Well, the main culprit, so to speak, was something called an active western disturbance.
Okay, sounds technical. Break it down.
Basically, it's a storm system that forms over the Mediterranean Sea area and moves eastwards towards India. As it travels, it gathers moisture. When this system hits the warmer air over North India, like Delhi, especially this time of year, it can create a lot of instability. And that instability is what fuels things like thunderstorms, strong winds, dust storms, like the one we saw.
Got it. So this western disturbance was like the engine driving the storm.
Pretty much, yeah.
And it definitely had some power.
Hmm.
At the airport, IGAA, they clocked the wind at 74 kilometers per hour, peak speed.
Wow. 74 kph.
Yeah. And Pragati Maidan saw 70, Lodi Road 69. That's That's easily strong enough to do damage.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Winds like that will take down trees, damage weaker structures, make flying incredibly dangerous. Explains the diversions perfectly.
And the IMD, they sort of saw it coming, right? They'd issued warnings earlier.
They had, yes. They predicted, I think the term was moderate to severe thunderstorm, and warned about gusts potentially hitting 80 kph. So the red alert later wasn't totally out of the blue. It confirmed their earlier fears were materializing.
Right. And what about the temperature? I heard it dropped quite a bit.
It did, yeah. That's pretty typical with strong thunderstorms. You get these downdrafts bringing cooler air down from higher up. Delhi had reached almost 36 Celsius that day. Then the storm hit, and Pelham saw temperatures drop by 10 degrees. Safdarjung saw a 7-degree drop.
Wow, 10 degrees. So you'd have gone from needing AC to maybe wanting a shawl or something pretty fast.
Exactly, that kind of sudden shift.
Did it rain much? I know it's called a dust storm, but sometimes you get rain too.
Some areas did see rain, yeah. Vihar reportedly got about 5 millimeters, which isn't insignificant. But many other parts of Delhi got barely anything. It seems the main event was really the wind and the dust this time. The system had the energy for strong winds, but maybe not widespread heavy rain.
Okay, let's go back to the human impact for a moment because it's just so important. Chander Pal, the man who died in Chander Vihar, that wall collapse, it's just horrific.
It really is, and it immediately makes you think about building safety, doesn't it? Especially with under construction sites. Are regulations followed? Is the quality good enough?
Exactly, those questions. And then the injured people, Rajbir Mirna, Ashu Malik, that poor 13-year-old, and Karol Bagh. We don't know the full extent of their injuries, but you just know it must have been terrifying for them. A normal day turns into that.
Hmm. It's a stark reminder that extreme weather isn't just inconvenient, it's dangerous. Properly dangerous. Hopefully the investigations into why that wall and that balcony failed will give some answers, maybe prevent future tragedies.
Let's hope so. Okay, shifting gears slightly back to the disruptions, those 15 diverted flights, that must have caused absolute chaos at the airport and probably other airports too where they ended up.
Oh, for sure. It's a ripple effect. Delays stacked up, passengers get stranded, need hotels, food. And for the airlines, as we touched on, it's extra fuel, crew logistics nightmares, compensation costs potentially. It all adds up. Big economic hit from just a few hours of bad weather.
And then the power cuts. That's almost expected with high winds and trees, isn't it?
Unfortunately, yes. Trees or branches hit the overhead lines and bang, power's out.
We heard reports from places like Narela, Bawana, Badli, Mangalpuri. Quite widespread.
The good news, apparently, was that the power companies, Tata Power DDL and BSES, they seemed to get on it pretty quickly. Most places got power back relatively fast, which is good.
That is good. Still, it highlights that vulnerability, doesn't it? Trees near power lines.
It does. It's an ongoing challenge in cities everywhere, really, managing urban trees safely around vital infrastructure.
And the sheer number of trees that came down, you mentioned NDMC got 8 complaints, MFD 4, PWD 10, and that's just the official reports to them.
All right, the fire department probably got calls too. It gives you a sense of just how many trees were affected across the city.
Yeah, that green canopy took a real beating.
And losing mature trees isn't just about blocked roads. It affects the local environment, maybe shade, air quality in the long run, habitats. It matters.
Speaking of air quality, there was actually a slight kind of weird upside, wasn't there? The air got a bit cleaner.
Temporarily, yes. It seems the storm itself, the dust movement, and maybe the little bit of rain kind of washed the air a little. The AQI, the air quality index, did dip, but, and this is a big but, it was still only in the moderate range.
Right, so not exactly fresh mountain air suddenly appearing.
No, definitely not. And it's usually very short-lived. Once the dust settles, literally, and traffic gets back to normal, the pollution levels tend to bounce right back up. So a very fleeting improvement.
Okay. But one group who probably didn't see any upside were farmers in the region, right?
Oh, definitely not. They were apparently already struggling after some earlier heat waves that had stressed the crops. And then the storm comes along with strong winds. There were reports of wheat and mustard crops just being flattened in the fields.
Oh, no. That could mean huge financial losses for them.
Absolutely. Farming is always vulnerable to weather, but that combination heat stress followed by a violent storm that can be particularly devastating for yields and income.
Right. So let's try and pull this all together. Friday, April 11th, 2025, Delhi gets slammed by a super sudden, intense dust storm driven by this thing called a western disturbance.
Yep.
We saw incredibly strong winds, peak speeds over 70 kph. Tragically, one person killed by a collapsing wall, several others injured in related incidents. Major travel chaos, 15 flights diverted from IGA. Widespread damage across the city, loads of trees down, leading to power outages in several areas.
Yeah.
A tiny, temporary dip in air pollution levels. But also, fresh worries for farmers about crop damage, adding to problems from earlier heat waves.
That sums it up pretty well. The Western disturbance, providing the energy for all that disruption, it really shows how dynamic these weather systems can be.
It really does. And, the whole thing just screams vulnerability, doesn't it? For a huge city like Delhi, you see the weak points, buildings maybe not built strongly enough, those power lines exposed to falling trees.
Yeah.
It brings up those ongoing issues about, well, construction quality, how we manage trees in the city, making sure infrastructure can actually handle this kind of thing.
It does. And when you think about how fast cities like Delhi are growing, it puts enormous pressure on everything: infrastructure, resources, the environment, making sure that development is resilient, that it can cope with weather events that seem to be getting more intense or maybe just more frequent. That's a massive challenge.
Yeah, that's the thing. It feels like these once-in-a-blue-moon events are happening more often now, so it really makes you wonder, what does this mean long-term for how we plan cities, how we build, even how we prepare ourselves as individuals? It feels like there's this balancing act, between wanting to develop quickly and needing to deal with increasingly intense weather.
That's a really crucial point to end on, I think. Thinking about those long-term implications. How do we build smarter, safer cities? How do we get better at warnings, at making sure people know what to do? These are exactly the kinds of questions an event like this forces us to ask.